Dude, these things just started to sing and feel like a real piece of kit. I painted them on both the inside and the outside, so there are... Oh! Hey, everybody. Adam Savage in my cave, and we have a fun one today, as you saw on the... Well, you clicked on the link. One of a regular question that I get asked on this channel, on live streams and elsewhere, is are there things you're obsessed with that we don't know about yet? And today's subject is one of those things. I am going to make a replica model of an artificial heart, specifically the Jarvik 7. Artificial hearts are really, really cool pieces of machinery to me. And it starts a long time ago. I was watching this video about the difficulty of moving blood cells. And Jamie and I had an experience way back when we needed to raise a boat with ping pong balls. That was the myth. It was it was the first myth we did from a Donald Duck cartoon. And we needed to figure out how to pump 20 to 30,000 ping pong balls underwater, 40 feet underwater, into a vessel. And ping pong balls are a difficult thing to move with a pump because most pumps operate with the thing that does the pumping, i.e. a propeller blade or an impeller, tends to be within the flow of the liquid being pumped. In general, that is how a lot of pumps work. There is an impeller in line with the flow of the fluid, and the impeller moves that fluid and draws the fluid behind it. It pushes ahead, draws the fluid. And there are specific pumps for moving stuff that would impede an impeller. There's a trash pump. But moving stuff that's in water without damaging the stuff that's in water, moving stuff within a liquid medium without damaging that stuff within a liquid medium is non-trivial. And one of the main ways you see blood being pumped in a hospital is what's called a diastolic pump. And a diastolic pump, there is no impeller in the column of flow. There is a tube which creates the column of flow, and then there is a machine that effectively that spins and creates that impelling force within the tube. It's not worth me going all the way into a diagram of how the mechanics work, but a diastolic pump is effectively able to pump blood without imbuing any stress. Because here's the thing, blood vessels are like little tiny water balloons within the fluid of our blood plasma. I know our blood looks red, but it's not. It is clear with a bunch of red cells in it. And the thing about those cells is they're really delicate. And if you are moving them and they are in any kind of mildly unfriendly environment, I'm not a phlebotomist. I'm not a blood specialist. But what I know is that as a red blood cell is moving, if you do anything to impede its movement or it goes over something hard, it can split apart. There's coagulate, there are all sorts of reactions blood has to its cells being damaged in flow. And none of them are great for hospital outcomes. So moving blood in a medical setting is a real engineering challenge. And the first thoughts of an artificial heart are like 19th century. You know, doctors were understanding these difficulties and starting to think about them way back then. But it's not until the 1980s that Dr. Robert Jarvik developed the first fully implantable artificial heart. There are multiple modalities in terms of pumping blood into a human, but this was the first time his invention, here's a picture of it. This was the first time that a external device was planted internally to completely replace the muscle of the heart. And the Jarvik heart is still out there. It's called something else. The company has changed hands several times, but it is a inordinately successful design. And we're going to talk about that design in this video while I make one. While I make a Jarvik 7 artificial heart. And I'm looking to make it look, so there's one in the Smithsonian's collection. There might even be more than one in the Smithsonian's collection. And it's not the collection that I sit on the board at the Smithsonian and the Air and Space Museum. This is not part of that museum, but Smithsonian has a Jarvik heart in their collection. And I'm looking to make one that looks kind of like that one. There's a lot of, when you go and look for Jarvik hearts when you do an image search for Jarvik hearts, there are so many different ones. With a device like this, they workshop prototype after prototype after prototype. All sorts of things need to be worked out. You need mechanical function to work, but then you also need it to be inert. You need to fit within the body, all these other things. I'm sure the engineering cycles of developing something like this are diabolical. But what it seems to be is a simple matrix of a heart chamber backed up by a bellows, effectively. I'm going to get some visual aids before talking about its function, but I want to tell you about this journey. So I've had an artificial heart folder on my hard drive for well over 2 decades. Inspired by both the Jarvik 7 and the Abe Dieckman heart. The Abe Dieckman heart is a spectacular looking heart, more complicated mechanism, different outcomes in terms of the early development of both of those. But again, surpassingly beautiful piece of equipment. I will eventually make an Abe Dieckman heart as well. But Jarvik 7. So I reached out to, I was thinking about making a Jarvik 7 last year for a demonstration. And I didn't get to that demonstration, but as part of my research, I reached out to a friend of the channel, Bill Doran, with Punished Props. And I said, would you be willing to draw for me this heart? Take a look at this reference material. I want to make one of these. Are you up for drawing it for me, and then and then I can print it. And Bill drew this beautiful drawing, and I'm gonna show it to you. I'll show you the first. All right, so this is one chamber of Bill's drawing. I've got some Velcro on here. I'll leave it on there. And here, so these are the 2 chambers of the heart that Bill drew. And let's talk about the function here. Obviously, these 4 things are the things that connect into the main arteries, vessels of our bodies. In fact, for implantation, these would have a cuff on it that provided a soft matrix to allow the human tissue to grow and secure itself to this device. And I wanted to talk about how it functions. So we're just going to take one chamber of the heart and talk about just how beautifully simple this was. And this is why I love building things that I'm obsessed with, because I thought the Jarvik 7 heart was really cool before I understood how it worked. This is so simple. This is so crazy simple. So this is the impeller, effectively, of the artificial heart. And it goes on the back of the chamber. And this is an inlet for air. And across here was a polyurethane membrane. I believe it's polyurethane, but it's a plastic that can do what it needs to do. And what it needs to do is this chamber receives pressure in through this line, and that pressure makes the membrane here bow up from the pressure, changing the volume inside this chamber. And then you remove air through this. You go through this cycle of pumping air in, which makes it come up, and then you remove air and it comes down. And these channels here are all so that it can't get a vacuum lock on the bottom. They're allowing the air to move in and create, yeah, you see that? Air comes in, out, in, out, changing volume in here, in, out. Now, one of these valves goes in and one of these valves goes out, and therein lies the pumping. And when you have two chambers, you have two things pumping, and you can adjust the timing between them. And that is so simple. So crazy simple. It's just, this is exactly how we breathe. We have a diaphragm here, and we move it down, and we push it up. And that changes the volume inside our torso, changes the volume in our lungs, and it's how we breathe. This is a beautiful mechanical solution to moving the massive amounts of blood that our heart pumps. Roughly 2 billion times in a roughly average human lifespan. This is fine as a model of the artificial heart, but I want mine to look really like the real thing. I want it to look like a thing from a museum. And as such, so these are filament prints out of my bamboo carbons. And a part like this is really thorny with a filament printer because you've got this fine detail, which is hard to accommodate for. Now, I know there might be some printing experts out there who are going to show up in the comments and tell me the perfect way to set this up, and I will really appreciate that information. But I printed this like this, and I printed it 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 like this, and they all had varying degrees of interesting issues around that printing. And then we recently got in our SLS sintered nylon printer. And all of a sudden, those problems are gone because this one has no supports. Look at this. Look at how pretty this is. Oh, like a real thing. It's so awesome. We ran a few of these, and I was messing around with them, and I was looking at my reference material, and I was realizing, you know what I really need, though? I need this this needs to be clear. And a lot of these parts need to be clear. The original Jarvik Jarvik Heaven? The original Jarvik 7 heart was translucent. And that was probably, there was probably a really good mechanical reason that they wanted to see the operation. So, as you can see where this is going, I asked Norm to fire up a clear print on our form resin printer. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how we got from this to this to this. Look at that. Look, I should have realized I wanted this in resin before I did it in sintered nylon. I should have. This is still me wrapping my head around the possibilities of 3D printing within this space. But this, booyah! I'm so excited about this. And the back, hold on. Yeah. Look at that back. Oh! What? Oh my God, that looks manufactured. This was probably milled out of acrylic. I'm gonna make a wild guess and say that the original Jarvik 7 back like this was milled out of straight acrylic, which is pretty reasonably inert substance. Oh my God. When I start to hold pieces like this, again, I start to feel closer and closer to the engineers, the engineering, the process that yielded this incredible invention. So we are going to I'm gonna reset, I think, over at the long table, because it's just, I basically have all the parts I need to make an artificial heart. I just need to modify some of them, and really specifically, since the chamber part of the Jarvik 7 was clearly made out of molded fiberglass, I am going to add fiberglass to this piece. I did it yesterday. I tried this yesterday by hand laying it up. And today I think I'm gonna go with a vacuum bag. Yeah, because I think it's gonna give me the look that I want. But yeah, it's all artificial hearts. You know, it's sad. We're only, well, we might be able to have this edited out by Valentine's Day. It's only 9 days away. But it's a nice Valentine's Day present to have a artificial heart build video. Hey, also, we are going to make these files. You can download these files and you can print them out. And I'd love to see the hearts you make with them. Oh, right. This is the whole reason this is the whole reason I'm taking up 20 minutes of your time at the beginning of this video to talk about this. Within the simplicity of a set of drawings that make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 roughly different parts, you can 3D print an artificial heart demonstration model. And then in talking about how this functions, there's an entire engineering curriculum, both medical and physical, and to discuss this beautiful piece of engineering. Like, this to me is the promise of 3D printing educationally, is it can put objects in our hands. And when we touch the physical simulacrum of a thing, I feel like we're way closer to that thing than when we're looking at pictures of it or someone's holding it up and telling us about it. The holding of it, that's where I get excited about curricula. All right. Thanks for indulging me in this long setup, and let's go to the long table. These have been built out of tough 2000 resin, and they're absolutely perfect. Just what I wanted. Fantastic. Oh, what are these? These are the valves. These are the actual valves. We'll talk about those in a minute. All right. The most difficult part of this operation right now is going to be the vacuum bagging. So that's actually where I'm going to start. That's going to be the most time-consuming of the exercises, but I want to vacuum bag and take care of these pieces before I continue with the other stuff, because this can set while I'm doing that. I've ordered a vacuum bagging kit from Wix, Aircraft and Motorsports. I did vacuum bagging way back in the early part of the show for the Adam and Jamie human, the flying ducted fan flying personal vehicle. I did that in like the first or second season. Crazy. Okay. Okay, let's talk a little bit about fiberglass, and then we'll talk about what vacuum bagging is. Fiberglass is literally exactly as advertised. It's glass. It's fiber made from glass. This is a pretty standard fiberglass weave. I believe this is a square weave because the warp and weft is everything goes over and under like a normal, like a basket weave. Fiberglass is very strong when you impregnate it with a resin. Polyester or epoxy. There are multiple modalities for the resins for fiberglass, but when you impregnate this with resin, because glass is not a stretchy medium, it creates a very rigid structure. And if you want to make that structure as rigid as possible, the ideal relationship between the amount of fiberglass and resin is the least amount of resin you can have in relation to the fiberglass. Less resin equals more strength. And so vacuum bagging is a way of putting fiberglass, I'm going to do this over this, even though I'm doing it inside of it, but just for clarity. So with vacuum bagging, what I do is I put fiberglass over an object. Well, first I paint it with resin, a slow setting resin. Then I put the fiberglass on it. Then on top of that, I put this release film. I put this, basically it's like a batting. I'm not sure what it's made of. And then on top of that, I put this stuff, the vacuum bag. And what happens when I put all those three things on top is that the vacuum bag is literally a sealed bag that goes around this whole arrangement. So inside the vacuum bag is some of this, followed by some of this, and then there's the fiberglass next to the form. And when I get the resin wet and impregnate the fiberglass with it, and then I put this stuff over it and I draw vacuum on it, what happens is this bag material conforms very excellently all around the fiberglass and squeezes it and squeezes it and squeezes it. So it's pressing and making it really, really thin. But the resin that you've got there has to go somewhere. So what it does is it goes through this release film and gets soaked up by this stuff. So that when you're all done, you can peel it all off and you end up with you end up with the ideal relationship between glass and resin. And you end up with the highest strength and also lightest weight object. So that's what we are about to do. In order to pull a vacuum, you actually need to add a valve to the bag. That's what these are. These are vacuum bag valves. They sent a lovely liquid-filled vacuum gauge. I don't need it. I've got a vacuum gauge over here, so I'm going to pull that over. But we are slowly going to assemble these, and I'm going to use a slightly faster setting resin because I want this done in a couple of hours. But yeah, so that's vacuum bagging and fiberglassing, and you're about to watch the whole thing play out. So here we go. Okay, so here we are almost ready for the resining. I have two vacuum bags. They have their vacuum extractor valve installed. I have the resin pieces. I have the resin prints ready. So I am going to connect these up to my vacuum pump. Hang on. Let's see here. What I've got is... Oh, right. I see. Okay, I need one more. First up. Yeah, you can't have enough NPT fittings. Yeah, well, you can't have enough plumbing fittings in your space if you're ever doing this kind of tinkertoy. Oh. All righty. Yes. We're in the sluice now. It's happening. So, what's gonna go is I'm going to paint resin into the insides of both of these, put in the fiberglass, put in the release film, put in the soaker fabric, There are different vacuum bagging systems that include different kinds of parts here and there. I'm being very generous with the resin because I want to make sure it gets everywhere. The vacuum bag will squeeze out what I don't want to be there. Just making sure I have real coverage all over. Okay, going into the second one. Now, I'm going to take this, put it in there. All right, I messed up this one. I'm going to reset and do this one, because this one's much easier. And I'll recut the fabric for the other one. There, like that. Yep. Okay, I gotta change my gloves and cut a new piece of fiberglass. I do have some time. I'm not too pressed for it, but I do want to get this done quickly. Oh, oh, oh. Much better. Much better. Significantly improved. Excellent. Sometimes I work in too close of a tolerance. So I'm just going to make sure that the glass is all wet out. All right, and there's this business. Goes into there. Like that. Okay, sealed. Sealed. Okay, turning on the vacuum pump. Pulling the vacuum. All right, well, all that noise is happening. That's the vacuum pump vacuuming these out. It's going to take a couple of hours before I can unbag them. We are going to have a revisit to an old friend today. My watchmaker's lathe. And what I'm going to do here again, sorry about the noise, is I'm going to clean up some of my some of these guys. These are the valve, these are the lips of the valves. These are part of the interface between the artificial heart and a real heart. And so these are raw resin prints, and I want to clean them up. I'm also going to clean up some white ones in case I want to use these. I'm not positive. We'll see. Let's get you a camera angle on this lathe.
Yeah, I'll do a secondary operation on this, but I like that. I don't think I'm going to get these to look anything like these, so I'm going to stick with those. All right, so now it's time to paint the valves. These are the valve housings, and these are the valve discs. This is what's known... Actually, here, let's go in the other room. Now we can go away from that sound. Again, while the vacuum bagging is happening, I am proceeding. I have finished lathing and cleaning up the valve necks. And now it's the actual valves. So these are the valve discs, and these are the valve bodies. And the disc sits in the body, and it can basically tilt. It can close off the valve, or it can open it up. And this is what's called a tilting disc valve. It's not an ideal valve by any means, but it is the best one. It's one of the best ones we currently have. Both of those things are true. So I am going to paint these. I'm going to, these already have a primer coat and a clear coat because they were sintered nylon, and I'm trying to get that texture gone, and I'll never fully remove it, but that's fine. I'm now going to come in with some chrome paint and then hit that with All Clad 2. First I'm going to prime this, and my primer, like usual, is going to be a Tamiya lacquer primer. I have just painted these with the, I just poured some of the Molotov liquid chrome into there and sprayed it right out of my Iwata. And I've got some, sorry. That is just fine. These discs, I can repair those later. These are fine. They reflect light. I'm happy with them. I'm going to seal this all with All Clad 2 once I have it done. I've just turned off the vacuum because the resin has sufficiently set, but it's not ready to unbag just yet. I want to be clear. I'm like, at this point, I am moderately sure that these are messed up in some way. That's okay. I have a plan B, and I'm going to reprint these, and I'm going to redo this, obvi. But I'm just sure that when I open these up, they're going to be shite. They might not be. I am looking forward to being pleasantly surprised. All right. Panda valves. Oh, right. I cured the insides. Okay, so now I'm going to work on doing some clear coating on the valves. On the backside of each of the lobes of the heart are the backside pieces, and those I needed one more cure in the curing oven. So These are very interesting. These are the back parts of each of the lobes of the heart. They are without a doubt the most beautiful parts of this thing. And to reiterate, this is the activator for the pumping of the heart. There's a membrane here. Air comes in here. The membrane goes up, comes down. It changes the volume inside the heart. One valve goes in, one valve goes out. And so as it changes that volume, and it builds a cycle, and blood pumps through our bodies, through our lungs to get oxygenated, and then to the rest of us to make sure we're all pissed off. That's just the human condition. There's something funny though. I cured these 3 times to get them extra hard. And when you cure them, when you over cure them, as I have done, you get a little bit of a yellow cast to them. I don't know if that's super obvious here. And for me, that yellow cast is ideal. Makes it feel like an older thing. But per usual on resin prints, there's some support stuff to take care of. So I'm going to clean these up. Let's take a look at that for just a second. I could easily paint this with a clear coat, but sometimes you're just going to get better looking lines and better looking reflections from a polish. And with something like this, I'm all about getting the most diverse sets of textures. That's what I really want, a diverse set of textures that feel authentic. That feels great. That feels like a really lovely part to me. All right, time to open them up. Okay, so that's a good part. Those are good. Those are there. Right, so undo the vacuum bag. I realized I could have put some of the batting underneath this so that it would travel better, but I still feel like we did okay. Vacuum bag puck. I'm so nervous. I really, really want this to come out okay. Well, it's not immediately terrible, that's for sure. It looks pretty freaking good, but let's peel it. That's kind of great. Okay, so here is an assembled valve inside one of my backup valve necks. And here you can see its operation, that it's called a tilting disc valve because when it gets pressure from the underside, the disc tilts up and fills that space and stops the liquid from moving. But when the liquid comes from this side, it tilts down and lets all that liquid through. Now, this is a highly polished chromed part, so it's inert to most things. And still, there are areas where the blood cells will get caught and torn. And because of that stress on the blood vessels, if you have one of these, you have to take anticoagulants for the rest of your life, apparently. And look, people have lived as long as 11 years wearing these valves in their jarvik heart. It's a remarkably successful invention, but it's just a little testament to just how difficult it is
to make blood flow safely and without damage to the blood itself. I am now going to, this was a test yesterday and I like it. I'm going to hit these with the yellow lacquer, with the yellow guitar lacquer from StewMac. Yep, let's do it. I talk a lot on this channel about using paint to quote unquote hide crimes. When things, I'm not going to give abstract examples. I'm going to say that the two halves of my heart chambers were not perfect. And there were some inconsistencies in them. But as soon as I hit them with the yellow guitar lacquer, I'll hold up the can in a little bit. Dude, these things just started to sing and feel like a real piece of kit. I painted them on both the inside and the outside. So there are... Oh! Damn it! Oh. Are you wondering how that all turned out? It's not easy being me sometimes. All right. That went just fine. The paint. This is why I love lacquer. The guitar lacquer had already set. Dude, amazing. All right, I'm going to get some, I'm just going to do some little touch-up spots on this. But that didn't damage anything because lacquer. Oh, here, I'll hold up the can. Color tone guitar lacquer. There's an insult. That goes a guitar lacquer. Guitar lacquer, vintage amber. Just lovely. I'm going to do some spot touch up, but I love this stuff. And really, really, I love lacquer because how quickly it dries. So good! I'm so happy with this. Oh my gosh. All right, so. Right, this one points, that's what happens. Oh, don't. You shatter on me, I will kill you. All right, here we go. I'm coating, I made some flat spots. These things Velcro together in every display that they're in. And these are a little too far apart. So I made some small flat pads and now that's it. So that's right and left, which would be opposite. So this would be left, which would be the blue. And this would be right, which would be the red.
oh, oh. Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't let the Velcro set. I got impatient. Let's let it settle. Settle, people! Dudes! I'm so pleased. Oh my goodness. I am so happy about this freaking thing. I am really, really letting that Velcro go to hell. All right. Okay. I can't call this done until I get this gluing right. So let's get this gluing right, okay? Yeah, let's do it. Now everything's a little dirtier, and that's kind of more authentic. There it is. The camera phone died. Literally, as I was like, oh, I was just about to show you all the completed thing. Oh, dude. Yes. Oh, it looks so freaking cool. I can't even get over this. One of these was implanted into the chest of Dr. Barney Clark. Was the first recipient of a complete artificial heart transplant. He was incredibly gracious, donated his body for the experiment, which is an amazing thing to do. It was not a comfortable thing, I'm going to wager, but dude, I'm just so happy with how this came out. We're gonna get some nice B-roll of this on a stand to wrap this video up, but thank you guys so much for joining me for this. Again, in the link, you are going to find the links to these beautiful files that Bill Doran drew, and make your own, print your own, resin, SLS, filament, whatever you want. I don't know why I'm yelling. I'm just really excited. I can't even tell you how good this feels just in my ever-loving hands, right? Just like, oh, so cool. All right. Thanks for joining me. This was really fun. This is the culmination of years of fun research. All right. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to tell you about some brand new merch we have. One of my favorite things we've ever produced are our demerit badges, which are scout badges for messing things up, as we all do. They're bestsellers, and we started out selling them as patches, then we moved to stickers, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we have demerit badge magnets for your fridge or your machines, and we started out with a 4-pack of our greatest hits. You can find these right now at tested-store.com.